May 15th, Devotional, 365 Daily Devotionals, Both and in Either or World, by Anthony Robinson. To each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. Every now and then someone says, if only we were like the early church, when everyone was full of faith and lived in total harmony. I suggest reading the New Testament letters about actual early churches. Paul to the Corinthians will do. He wrote to a quarreling, contentious congregation. Paul cautioned against spiritual arrogance, suggesting to those who thought of themselves as the enlightened that though knowledge puffs up, love builds up. Paul affirmed a two-sided truth. Individual gifts and their expression are really important, and the life of the group, the community or congregation, is also important. It's not either the sacred individual or the sacred community, it's both, and in writing, to each is given the manifestation of the Spirit. Paul affirmed that each and every person in the congregation is given a gift of the Spirit. No one is giftless, unimportant, or less than. In writing, to each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. Paul reminds us that the individual gifts and their expression aren't the whole point. The point is a common good, building up the church and its witness to God. When our kids were teenagers, we affirmed a similar two-sided truth. You are very special, unique, and important, and you are part of a family. This Pentecost Day, ponder the amazing gifts of the Spirit to each, and invite each one to use their gift to build up the church in its common life and mission. To each is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. In the story of the Good Samaritan, the wayfarer fell among robbers and was left lying in the gutter, half dead, and a priest and a Levite both passed by on the other side of the road. But the Good Samaritan was moved with compassion and came to him and bound up his wounds and brought him to an inn and took care of him. Do I treat another alcoholic like the priest and the Levite, or like the Good Samaritan? Never weary in prayer. When one day you see how unexpectedly your prayer has been answered, then you will deeply regret that you have prayed so little. Prayer changes things for you. Practice praying until you trust in God has become strong, and then pray on because it has become so much a habit that you need it daily. Keep praying until prayer seems to become communion with God. That is the note on which true times of prayer should end. I pray I may form the habit of daily prayer, and I pray that I may find the strength I need as a result of this communion. May 15th, a mother's request. The mother of James and John asked the Lord to bestow honor on her sons, but was told instead that they would drink from the same cup as the Lord's. No one knows if she realized that Jesus was describing his cruel death. We don't know if she understood that this meant martyrdom for her sons. This dear mother is not that unusual. Every parent wants to see his child promoted and honored, but God may have a different plan for that child, perhaps one not as glamorous or as full of accolades. Always a parent's desire for a child's advancement must be held in check as a mother and father pray that God's will be done in his life. Somehow I believe the mother of James and John ended up understanding this. When you flip over to Matthew 27, you read a startling fact from the same woman. The mother of James and John was one of the few who remained by the cross of Jesus. She saw firsthand the terrible cup the Lord had talked about weeks earlier. She had realized that the hardships her sons were destined to face, the tenderness and the compassion that must have filled her heart.